All right, Brodus Clay for weeks has been going to debut, and well, not debut. He was going to re-debut because he was on NXT, and then he was traveling with Del Rio, and then he was going to have another debut, and then he was going to be on Superstars, and now they were going to bring him back again. And they finally pulled the trigger this week, and it's this giant middle finger to everybody. What I gotta get my train of thought here because this is it blew my mind and not in a good way. Now I know that they really want to get one over on us, and I understand that if you were in a position of power and you're a writer and everything like that, that it's fun to do that every once in a while. I love doing that kind of shit too, but you don't do it at the expense of something that could have been much better. I mean, if you talk about this upcoming Dark Knight Rises movie where we've got Bane, it seems like Chris Nolan is refusing to listen to the people that say that they can't understand what Bane is saying. Now, if we're not hearing it 100% what the final cut is going to be, then yeah, we don't really have that much of a say in it. But if he keeps it the same way and we can't understand it, people are going to be pissed when they watch the movie. When it comes to Brodus Clay, my little analogy there, Brodus Clay, I personally think, had a lot of talent, and he could have gone somewhere. It seemed like they thought that too, and then they give him a gimmick like this, which they have to know is not going to go over well as this true, legitimate threat to a world title. Now, sure, they can turn him heel, or they can change the gimmick around. They've done it before. But why make it that much harder for you when you could have just had Brodus Clay come out and just be Brodus Clay? If they didn't think that he was going to be fine enough on his own the way that he had his other gimmick before, why build him up as this monster that they're going to bring in? And why put him in this horrible gimmick where the only thing that it made me think of was this laundry list of the monster heels that get these stupid gimmicks. Now, there's the Punjabi Playboy. There's
God.
Sexual Chocolate. There's
sexual,
the Love Machine Viscera. There's Rikishi when he was doing that.
And the stinky thongs.
You know, it's they love this gimmick idea of let's get this fat guy who dances or this heel who turns into a fun-loving type of guy. And it seems like they do that with every single person. They only haven't done that with The Undertaker yet. But
what they did with the American Badass.
But he wasn't dancing around and stuff. It wasn't as ridiculous. It was just...
He was probably dancing around the back.
So when I was trying to do the best and worst awards of 2011 for SmarkOutMoment.com, I took notes throughout the entire year. And I decided to do that again this year. So right off the bat, I already have somebody who's a prime candidate for the worst gimmick year of the word kind of person, and that's the Funkasaurus, which I can't wait until that's extinct like the rest of them. What do you guys think?
I find the whole gimmick a bit silly, but...
Just a bit?
I'm willing to sort of give it a chance, and there's a reason why I'm willing to give it a chance. Brodus Clay... in regards to, you know, his moveset and everything, it's pretty much the same. Now, what I'm waiting for is when they actually put him into a decent feud, see what happens from there, if he's going to actually make the gimmick work, because there's a lot of guys who've been given bad gimmicks, as Zack Ryder, and have literally made him work. So,
see, I actually liked Ryder's gimmick from the very start. The first time I saw it, I thought this was gold. Because not everybody is going to be that monster heel who's going to be a world champion. I mean, you got to have some comedic guys like Santino and everything. And Goldust was a weird gimmick, and that got over. So there is a chance that it could get over eventually. But when it comes to a gimmick like this, I mean, the only reaction he got out of that Raw episode was one guy yelling in the crowd, "You suck, Brodus." And that's not the reaction that they were looking for.
I agree with that one.
It's not an issue of me hating these type of gimmicks automatically, because I like Ryder's gimmick. I liked, I liked Rikishi when he was doing some of that shit, and he wasn't supposed to be a real serious guy. And, but to me, this is just that. All right, one of the things that he said in a backstage interview was, there's two things you can do about this: nothing and love it. And I have a third option, and that's fucking fast forward again.
Yeah, but the same thing when it comes down to it. He's at least coming into the ring with those two hot models with him. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm totally happy about that. But in the same sense, it is a bit too early to judge.
Yeah, not to mention with all the monster heels that they have on the roster, like you have Mark Henry. If Big Show is turning heel, that's another monster heel. You have Kane running roughshod around Raw. Isn't the monster heel market in the WWE kind of oversaturated at the moment? Maybe they were trying to do a thing to kind of, separate him from the crowd of all the actual monsters and give him something new to do. Sure, it might not have been the right way, since basically throughout the fall they were hyping him up to be basically what he was on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Running through jobbers and whatnot, and being dominant and all that sort of stuff. But as I said, with the oversaturation of the monster heel character on both brands, maybe they were trying to do something to kind of do something different with him. It might work because in the ring he still wrestles the same style. So maybe in the weeks coming they'll play like, sure, he's fun loving in that on his way to the ring, but when it actually comes time to compete, maybe he's still the brute that he's always been.
I agree with the oversaturation, but at the same time, I think if they held off this long to put him on the roster, and if they were worried about the oversaturation, they should have just waited until after WrestleMania and then brought him in. Because at that point, we're going to have probably one or two people that take a little bit of a break, and kind of like the draft might be coming up, and we're going to have a little bit of oversaturation of the other characters even, because we're going to hear a lot about The Rock. We're going to hear a lot about Kane, a lot about Undertaker, and so forth. So then switching it up and trying to do something different to bring Brodus in there and have him be maybe a monster on SmackDown or something like that would have been different. But I'm willing to give this a shot, because I'm always willing to have somebody prove me wrong. But I just think you give him a gimmick like this, and it might be funny for that week. And especially considering how much comedic stuff they had this week, somebody must have just piped in some real heavy stuff and got them high when they were writing this episode or something. But
either that or they hired like SNL rejects or something. It's like, oh, let's do this.
Yeah,
This would be funny. That they did oversaturate the comedy.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Dace? Are you in line for Flash Funk 2.0 or?
Yeah, funky.
I love it. I love it a lot. I was in the hotel room dancing in my bed to the song, and first I was like, what the WTF? And then it was just like, this is pretty cool. This is awesome.
Dace, did you watch the show this week?
The audience reaction was legitimately mine. I think if my jaw was long enough, it would have hit the floor. I really couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I think the audience interpreted that the same way. They were just like, are you serious?
Well, somebody, since I mentioned in the other part, since I don't watch Raw when it happens, I had 6 people sending me messages, and they were just like, you're going to talk about Brodus Clay this week. You're going to, something's fucking up with this. And so when I started watching it, I was preparing myself for something awful. And when it came out, I mean, I'll give them this credit. I laughed. Now, if they just want me to laugh at this about how stupid it is, then yeah, they did their job. I laughed when he came out on SmackDown too. And, if that's what they want, is just to get, people like the Tony Mangos out there to just go, oh my God, this is so stupid, I have to laugh. And sure, if I'm, Dace and I are having a party or something like that, and somebody puts on Somebody Call My Momma, we're going to be doing that stupid dance. But am I going to am I going to buy into Brodus Clay, future WWE champion? Not with this gimmick.
Yeah, are we or are the kids? That's a better question. This is just like, it totally seems like it's marketed towards the children of the audience. Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things like where they want them to bring Somebody Call My Momma signs and maybe put it on T-shirts and maybe sell like replica jumpsuits or something. It just has like merchandise eventually written all over it. Well, the kids will buy into it.
Don't give Dace any more ideas of what more things he can buy.
The kids will buy the funky hats and
Yeah, like, definitely the hats. Yeah, I
And the
could definitely see
pants,
that.
the rip away stripper pants.
That would be awesome.
All right. So, is there anything that we haven't touched upon on the Brodus Clay issue that you guys want to talk about?
Oh, I love how he's using Miller's old theme music. That is pretty awesome. It's catchy.
Maybe maybe during the Royal Rumble he'll come out and somebody will toss out his wig, just a little thing that he's got at the top of his head.
The way
Or
I
they can
see
both
it,
be in there and use the exact same theme song.
Maybe. It would probably be one of the most
Two-
epic moments in the Royal Rumble history.
exactly. And you've got two hot valets.
Yeah,
Which-
Ariane
Alex-
Andrew, I think her name is, and Naomi from NXT.
Yeah, Naomi's really buffed out. I don't know what happened. She used to be all abs before, but she's got like curves and everything.
Hmm.
So I'm quite happy at just staring at them while he does his stupid gimmick.
All right, so part 5, we are going to start talking about something actually on a good note. 2 people have been announced for the Hall of Fame. We'll tell you who that is in the next